Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you today? I hope everybody is fine. Well, in this very bright and lovely occasion, let me say welcome to this discussion. Welcome to this class of second language acquisition. We have already met around 4 or 5 times. Well, I hope our introductory in the first 3 meetings we talk about a lot about the theory of second language acquisition, and I hope everyone, each of you, has already been very familiar with the terminology of acquisition or language acquisition, or in a complete one we can call it as second language acquisition. But I just want to remind you again, I just want to refresh your understanding of language acquisition. We have, in general, we can have 2 kinds of language acquisition. First, language acquisition as LY, L1, and the second language acquisition or L2. First language acquisition, it is mostly about when we were born, yeah, and our parents spoke their mother tongue, our parents spoke their origin language, and we listen. As a baby born, we listen. And after that, automatically, naturally, we learn. We get something. And we try to imitate what our parents spoke about. Like me, for example, I was born with parents from Palembang, and they speak Palembangese. When I was born, they spoke Palembangese, and automatically my language was Palembangese. And since I was born until now, I still speak Palembangese with my brothers and sisters. And you could see my accents is influenced really, truly, and you can get where I am from my dialects, from my accents, not really like Jakartans or Lampungese. People can guess I'm from Palembang. Yeah. So it is called what we call mother tongue. Mother tongue can be is included as first language acquisition. So in bahasa we can translate it is as pemerolehan bahasa pertama. Acquisition translated in bahasa pemerolehan. I don't know how come pemerolehan. Pemerolehan bahasa pertama. So okay, we know when you were born, so you listened, and your parents spoke a language, certain language, we don't know, whatever. It could be your parents speak Japanese, your parents speak Lampungese, your parents speak Chinese, whatever. So it is, and then you try to imitate, and you were influenced to the language. It is called as mother tongue. But it might be, people sometimes say, can it be one language or only one, or can be 2? Yeah, originally, or can be one, but it can be 2. It depends on your parents. If your parents, there are 2 languages, your parents use English and, for example, English and Japanese. So you can speak English automatically. and Japanese automatically when you were, or after you were born. Your childhood, you speak, your parents ask you, good morning, how are you? And then you speak English. And then your parents speak Japanese, and then you can speak two languages. So it is called as mother tongue. But later, when you grow up, I was growing up, and I tried to learn other languages. I learned Arabic when I was in elementary school. I learned Arabic and I learned English. I learned at school formally English and Arabic. And even when I was at university, I learned German language. So I have three second languages. Second languages. What I mean, I learned three languages. Well, actually, if you try to see from when we say it is a second language, is second language acquisition. Remember, it is different from when we talk about foreign language. So we cannot say foreign language acquisition, no, but second language acquisition. English is a second language acquisition. But in socially, when we communicate with people, so English is a foreign language. Arabic is a foreign language, not a second language. But in education of language, or in the terminology of acquisition, we call it also second language. So first language, second language acquisitions, each of them may have two, may have more. I have two first languages, for example, and I have three second languages. Yeah. So empirically, yeah, actually there are two main what is the process of language acquisition. Firstly, there are two theories. First theory, what we call it as Nativist Theory. The second theory, we can call it as learning theory. The first theory, Nativist theory, says that human learn or get languages naturally. So it is called Nativist theory. And the second theory says that human learn or human get a new language through learning. They call it as a theory, learning theory. Yeah, it was famous, when we read the theory of Nativist theory. It was started by very famous person, very famous linguist, Noam Chomsky, and Lemberg. But a famous one is Chomsky. Everybody, if they learn theory of language, they know Chomsky very well. Noam Chomsky very well. Noam Chomsky tried to promote Nativist theory. They explain, they mention that human get their language naturally, from the nature. They learn languages from nature. They don't learn very academically, or they don't learn language very seriously. So everybody can learn language automatically. It is according to Chomsky and Lemberg. And they try to say also all normal children will get language or their mother tongues from the language they got firstly. They are introduced firstly from the mother, from the parents was introduced. And it is, and the second one, language acquisition doesn't have any connection with intelligence, brilliance, intellectuality. No. Language acquisition cannot be connected with intelligence because it is naturally happen. So we learn language, it is natural, not because of our intelligence. Everybody can speak without intelligence, even someone who has weaknesses or in their physical or in their problems with their articulatory. Okay, well, it is according to Chomsky and Lindbergh. And then also the sentence that the children used tend to be not to use very good grammar, not very complete, and few. When you say, for example, children always say when they want to eat, they say eat, eat, eat. They never say I want to eat, I want to eat. No. Yeah, it was what we call language acquisition, the process. First, they just know word eat. Just eat, eat. Drink, drink. Milk, milk, only one word. And after that, because of they always grow and they listen to other sounds, that other voice, other people speak, they try to arrange the grammar. And you know, it is only for human. Only human can use language, according to Chomsky. But if you talk about what about animals? They don't use language. Yeah, of course. We don't talk about language of animals in this case. Yeah, we talk about human language. Yeah, if we talk about, we know that maybe God create with different language. Human has language. Other creatures also have language. Even genie, ghosts, they have language. But we don't have to learn. Yeah, we just learn human. And the development of the child or children language is the same road, the same way based on their growing, developing. Yeah, first they were born 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, they can speak one word, 2 words, 3 words, and they can arrange a sentence. First, they don't have grammatically correct, and they try to say in one sentence, one word, and after that, they try to arrange into sentences. Structural, you know, a little bit complex. Structurally complicated and complex. Chomsky said like that. And you know, according to Chomsky, language is an heritage, legacy, since they were born. Heritage, legacy, warisan. Human, since they were born. It was given from the genetic to speak, to produce language. Sometimes through hypothesis that instinctively language is an assumption. All languages they learn not from what they learn, but they got it from nature. So it is again according to Chomsky. So that's why there is a terminology of this hypothesis. It's called LAD, language acquisition device. So we are given by God what we call language acquisition device. That's Chomsky. Yeah. So he believes that God created the device. So they don't learn the language, but they can automatically. Yeah, but if it is first language, it may be acceptable. But if the second language, I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, the theory can be argumented, debatable. All right. Now this is Chomsky. Well, I don't think I have to explain you a lot about this. It's very long explanation. Well, I hope Chomsky, and I need to talk one more about learning theory. Yeah. So learning theory, people, it is contradictory from what Chomsky got in Nativist Theory. Learning theory, the theory states that acquisition of a language through learning process. So from the expert psychologist Harvard Skinner, yeah, he is as a behaviorism states that language is a kind of a verbal action, verbal attitude. These schools or this school of psychology learn about the attitudes or behaviors. It's a real behavior that can be measured objectively. Yeah. So Bloomfield in his book Language implemented that the thinking of the thought of behaviorism analysis as the following. The first, language is physical behavior. Physical behavior. So everyone must know how to differentiate between language and events of languages following. And the third is as substitution response. Well, I think you can learn from the, or you can read also from the PowerPoint that I have sent you. It is simply in Bahasa. Yeah, because I made it in Bahasa, not only because of I want you to learn Bahasa Indonesia, no, but I just want you to understand about this. Yeah, it is not easy, to understand. It is not easy to understand the theory. Yeah, I think the most important thing you can understand the theory, and then after that you can say it in English. Okay, there are two theories of pemerolehan bahasa, language acquisition. The first is Chomsky. What is it? What is his theory? Nativist theory. And the second, learning theory. And then you have to know the people who promoted first time. Noam Chomsky is the native theory. And Skinner is a learning theory. Okay. Now, if I'm mistaken, last week I also gave you an assignment, and I'm sure you have already found, yeah, the two theory. Okay. Now, this is one thing I just want to know: the consequence of what learning this like this, yeah, this situation of pandemic. It means you have to learn yourself. You have to get a knowledge from yourself. You can browse internet, you can listen to people, you can buy books or whatever. Yeah. Now you can learn, you can read, and you can watch. All right. I don't think that I will continue. 20 minutes is enough for me. So I think later on I'm going to give you more about the theory. But the most important thing is we have to know what is the relationship between linguistic, and psychology. So I hope next week I will also present a kind of presentation like this. So our class will be more interesting. And if you have problems, yeah, it is very important, because you are going to be a teacher. So you have to know like the language acquisition, the process of teaching, transferring knowledge. So in Bahasa Indonesia we know that pemerolehan bahasa. All right, but that's enough I think for me today. If you have problems, you can go to you can write anything. If you don't want to talk to me in orally, you can send me WA, or you can discuss it in our GC, yeah, Google Classroom. Okay, that's enough. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.